Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to our session. I'm Dan Cunningham. I'm one of the founders and developers on PSADT, which has been around for 13 or 14 years. And out of curiosity, who here actually uses PSADT? Hey, good to see.
Okay, so my name is Knostenbergs, and I'm co-founder at Master Packager. And I'm ex-application packager, actually, packaging for years and doing thousands of packages, and now building our own packaging solution. So just recently, I had a call with a gentleman from Australia, and he's really experienced packager, coming from days from migrating XP devices to Windows 7 and Windows 10. And he said, like, really, I need some help figuring out how to work with PSAppDeployToolkit because I really don't like it, but all my colleagues really love it. And I'm experienced with MSIs and custom actions, and I can see everything there. So, and that is something I see really coming up over these conversations, where there are people that love MSIs, but not so much PSADT. But now things are changing, and this session is actually to understand, can you really get away just using one of these technologies, or maybe you need to understand which one to use when. But to compare these technologies, we need something
sort of framework or guidelines.
Yeah, exactly. So these are the guidelines that I have and we have found over the years from the organizations that really do application management excellent, I would say, without not so many problems. So it starts with something that you can actually make and deploy, right?
I'll go over this side.
and we know that sometimes, if you don't know how to package some application that you don't have silent switches, there are companies that will say, hey, nothing we can do. You cannot get this application. Choose something else, something maybe worse. So you have to have silent installation under system account, and there works under system account, and there's no weird behaviors like sudden reboots, right?
Manageable, meaning more the application after, or not strictly after the install, but that you're able to kind of configure the application through something like the registry. The application, for the most part, is either a fully system level application, or else it has per user data, so things in local app data. And that there's a mechanism to disable restarts or just general configuration items.
Yeah, and another thing that I see is missing in organizations is that it's streamlined. So something that you can actually teach to new members of the team. And what it means is that you use ways how to package application that is fast to implement, it's clear and understandable, and really trying to not invent the wheel over again and have something that avoids some custom solutions. So, because down the road it could lead to issues when industry changes.
Reliable being a trusted solution of sorts, PSADT perhaps. Transparent, foolproof. It's something that's that you can reuse for every application that is going to work consistently every single time, so that you're not going to get failures during the deployment.
Yeah, and all that is standardized. You have the processes how to do things, so everyone knows what to do in which situation and what tool to use. Scripts are shared. What common things, what I can see is packagers trying to create their own scripts for the same problem over and over again, and they are stuck in doing that. And they are not, what best organizations I see it does is you create one script, you prove it that it works, and then share it with a team, and they can pick from there.
And having a consistent user experience as well. a lot of applications, they have their own, Adobe Reader, the install looks quite different from a lot of other installers. Having a consistent user interface for all of your applications for your enterprise environment is generally really, really good guidelines.
Okay, so we have two technologies, PSAppDeployToolkit and MSI. So what is PSAppDeployToolkit?
Well, it's a packaging solution, or it's a wrapping solution for installers, including MSIs, but also set up executables, and allows you to customize how you actually, or what gets installed and what gets laid on top of a standard installer.
Yeah, and MSI, it's a 26-year-old technology. It just works, and there are a lot of tools out there, free and paid, and literally every deployment system out there supports that. And interestingly enough, it was created to actually standardize installers, so developers do not create their own unique mechanism how to install application, but we know how that turns out. So this is why we look into PSAppDeployToolkit, right? So let's start with the first round, PSADT versus MSI, and that is end-user experience. And I can tell a story from my own experience. So back in the days when I did the packaging, of course, my VMware was open. I spent already a few hours packaging this one application, and I couldn't get it working. And suddenly, as I was approaching the result, my VMware just crashed. It stopped working. And turns out, in my company, deployment specialist pushed the newer VMware version without packaging it. And there was a silent switch, though, and that basically killed my VMware. I lost all my work. I knew what was the problem, and nothing else I could do, like saying, hey, let's do the proper packaging in-house as well, not only for our customers, right? So it was an experience I remember right now. So
PSADT gives you a couple of options in terms of presenting your end users with a mechanism for closing applications, firstly, so you'd avoid the sort of problem that Tom was talking about. Being able to prompt a user that you're closing down, say, VMware or any other solution, and also giving them the option to defer. That could be any number of times. It could be by a certain deadline, and after which they have no choice but to close down the application and start the install. Providing some sort of information message, like a progress message on screen during the deployment. And also, one of the things that we haven't mentioned here is being able to block the rerunning of an application during the install. So if you try and start Word or Excel during the upgrade of Office, with PSADT, you'll get a message that says, you can't launch this right now. Please wait until the installation is finished. And finally, being able to prompt for restart at the end of an install with a countdown. So you give your users a certain period of time. They can dismiss a message, or after a period of time, you'll just force a restart. So in order to do that with PSADT, it's very, very simple. So to display a message with a close process, say for a green shot, and allowing it to defer 3 times is literally a single line of code, or a single line of script. Prompting for a restart, again, another simple line, just show installation restart prompt, count down seconds, whatever the time period you want that to be.
Yeah. So the end result looks like this. So MSI, of course, do not have anything built for such a end-user experience. It's not designed for that. And yeah, there is no out-of-box functionality. However, the PSADT, yeah, it's effortlessly to customize. It's built just to focused on that problem seen over the years using MSI.
It's probably important to note here that if you're deploying something with SCCM or Intune, there's no simple way of displaying a mechanism with just using an MSI. With PSADT, we have built-in support for displaying a UI on top of basically using the user context as opposed to the system context. So yeah, that's not something that MSI will give you out of the box.
So yeah, the conclusion, if you want the excellent end user experience, PowerShell Deploy Toolkit clearly wins. Authoring. So this is situation we have experienced when, for example, internal development team builds a tool and just don't know how to create an installer. What they do, they usually send the files and registries and some instructions to the packaging team and to package it up. So one of the ways how to do it, of course, is with PowerShell Deploy Toolkit. But yeah, first, some rules, what we looked on. So the rules would be that we have multiple files and registries, right? There is some add remove program entry, so you can track this, actually, if it's installed or not. And you have proper logging. You know how to troubleshoot it. You have ways how to do it. And it's easy to upgrade. Most likely, there will be newer version, and you won't spend as less time as possible to upgrade it. So yeah, it's one of the ways how to do it with.
Yeah. So we talked about this recently about can PSAppDeployToolkit do end-to-end an application install? And yes, technically you could. You can create a script that will, create all your files, do all the file copies, do registry edits, add in entries for doing an uninstall, and potentially, be runnable during an upgrade scenario as well. The fact is, people don't do that. MSI is really kind of the way people package things up. In general, I mean, we could do this, but no one really would. So, in general, yeah, it's not really suited for that sort of purpose as of yet.
But over the years, this is something what developers would do, like basically take the files and build it into MSI file. So what were the options? So there were developer tools. Packagers really rarely use it from our experience. Then there were paid tools that you can have some user interface as a packager to just drag and drop these files. So what we did at the Master Packager team, we made a tool called Master Packager where you have a user interface basically for MSI, all these tables, to have an easy way how to build an installer without knowing how developers would do it and without spending a time. And that's easy as, you just select what is your application name, manufacturer, version, go to the files and drag and drop your files there, whichever folder you are supposed to install it. And just press build, and you have all the files there. Same goes for registries, shortcuts, anything. And that's, we made sure it's completely free. And when it comes to working with MSI files, you have like 99% of needs covered in this tool. So, and another thing is what you want to do or can see is all the changes you actually all the changes that actually happen in the MSI itself. So just with few clicks, this is what's happening behind the scenes. I personally don't know how to do it with Orca, build a file in it. I know how to do it in MST file. I have seen a blog post with, 20 pages. I wouldn't dare to remember that and do that. But yeah, now there is option to do it.
There is no such option for PSADT, by the way. There's no single user interface that will allow you to drag and drop stuff in and build a script that way. Yeah,
so when it comes to just creating an installer as a packager, as IT admin, MSI is where it shines. This is where it's designed for, and now we have tools available to do it without learning and having development skills. Yeah, so yeah, and that's as well. There are other benefits like reducing the typos if you do it instead of scripts. This is what we have experienced as well. If you try to do so much things in one script, you have to spend so much time to to validate this. OK, let's go to the next round. MSI properties. This is a fun one. So there are two types of properties in MSI. And we all deal with MSIs, right? We wanted to do, so many vendors actually create MSIs, and there are two ways how you want to leverage that MSI. So first is installer configuration, and then a second one is application configuration. So if we look on PowerShell Deploy Toolkit.
Yeah. So we will set a number of installer properties. So things like all users, reboots equals release suppress. What gets interesting then is when you try to apply application properties. So something like disabling an auto output update mechanism. If you do that as part of an install, what you'll find is if something comes along to repair that install later on, like let's say if you install an application with per user components as one user, and then you log in as another user with an advertised shortcut on the desktop, you double click that shortcut and it starts a repair. You will lose those application properties. And the same, I think, is true of a standard MSI. There are workarounds, though, which you might want to talk through.
Yeah, so as you can see in this example, I just used the command line that you would use in PowerShell Deploy Toolkit and to disable updates. And when you just install it, it actually places a registry, that is application configuration registry, into registries, setting to auto updates to false. However, if for some reason someone repairs that MSI, and it could be various scenarios, as Dan mentioned, then you lose this auto-update functionality. And now imagine if you set as well the server name or license key or something like that, and that can lead to issues and service tickets. So in MSI, how we as a packagers deal with this issue, to basically sleep tight during the nights and no one blame us, with some specific issues, is creating a property cache inside the MSI file. So what you would do, you would leverage the MSI upsearch table and registry table, and basically take that property and put in registries. And when you set a new value, it would write that new value into registries, and during the repair would go look in that registry key and take that new value, and during the repair save that new functionality. And over the years, we actually do it with manually. And it took a lot of time, so we just we were enough of that. So there is, in free version, there is available one button. You right-click on the property table in Master Packager and click Add to Upsearch, and it will do everything for you. You will see all the changes in green, and you can learn it and use in any other tool from that towards. But that will actually give you an insurance that if someone repairs it, or the installer is built so it can sometimes repair it with advertised shortcuts or anything, you will leave these values. And it's especially important if you configure this application with specific application properties. So I have heard that, people say that with PowerShell Deploy Toolkit, it is just easier to overview all the command lines, all the properties you set. However, you may lose these properties during the repair in some scenarios. With MSI, what we see is that what works and is best practice for us was that we always create MST file for vendor MSI and do all the changes there, including creating the property cache. And as well, you in MSI can see and do other changes, like deleting desktop shortcut. Of course, you can do it with PowerShell, but now you have, if you know MSI, you can see that into one interface.
It's probably worth saying, though, as well, that you can also create an MST and use PSADT as well. So that's why we can't knock too many points off PSADT for that.
So environment variables, right? So
Yep.
that's
So-
another topic that packagers may need to tackle. And there are three ways, actually, how you may need to configure environment variables. Either to create it and have the value append at the existing values, like that's something similar for path variable. Prepend the value in existing values for an environment variable, or completely replace it. So what options do we have with PowerShell Deploy Toolkit right now?
Well, as of right now, we only have the option to set an environment variable or remove an environment variable. I say as of right now because as we went through these list of features, this is something that we've put onto the backlog to get fixed. So in an upcoming version, you'll be able to set these prepend or append.
While preparing to this presentation, Dan is basically writing down all the things he needs to improve in PowerShell Deploy Toolkit. So, yeah. From MSI perspective, that's all built in the MSI engine itself. So again, you can do it in the tables, but here is an example where you can do it for free from the user interface. So all the environment variable cases are covered here, so you can choose what to do on install, on uninstall, how to tackle that value, all that is there. So the conclusion, when it comes to environment variables, take a look at MSI, and because it's designed to tackle these needs. And for PowerShell Deploy Toolkit, currently there is no functionality.
Only set and remove, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. And these are fonts. And I'm into different forums where packagers hang out and ask questions, and this is really common. How to install fonts in my environment? So some rules, what I can see is, so of course it must install under system account, right? And it should be something that when you install the fonts, it should be traceable. Why? Because turns out what I hear is that some fonts are paid ones, right? And in large enterprises, there are audit companies that auditing if you are paying for stuff you actually use. So you should have an easy mechanism how to tackle what kind of fonts you use and which one are paid. So it has to be traceable, and it would be nice that if some other installer install the same fonts and then you suddenly uninstall that one of the programs, others still have the font accessible. Do we have something for PowerShell Deploy Toolkit?
Not yet, no. That guy over there is going to be working on on font support in a soon-to-be released version. We'll say 4.2 or 4.3. So.
Yeah. So what I can see is that people trying to use PowerShell to install these fonts, and that's possible, just plain PowerShell. But I have seen so many versions, so many issues, and so many complaints. Then we want to show you a super easy way that you can literally do it in 1 minute. You can take the MSI file, open it, and drag all the font files, even if you have 100, into the font folder. That will create a shared DLL reference. That's something that MSI use. If other MSIs using this way, it will count how many installers actually installing this font, and will not uninstall the fonts completely if other installers actually installed it.
It's probably worth saying as well that we're using Master Packager as an example here, but pretty much any MSI editor will do the same sort of thing. Any of the other tools, apart from possibly Orca, because Orca doesn't do a whole lot.
Orca building files, again, I don't know how to do it. But, so yeah, you get add remove entry. So if someone asks, hey, how many do we use this font and on which device it's installed, you can easily trace it as it's creating add remove entry. yeah, and set up some nice icon there and deploy it. It's, again, literally 1 minute to get fonts working. And we and others see this method using without any issues. So yeah, consider trying it. Yeah, and conclusion is that, yeah, PSADT will work on this, but currently MSI is the way to go. Okay, let's do some bonus round. Okay.
So PSADT will actually work with any type of installer. Not just that, but we kind of specialize in bundling installers. So if you have prerequisites or any dependencies that need to be installed as part of an overall installation, then we do that no problem. You can just bundle whatever you want in there.
Yeah, so...
Oh, and of course, we will, not just MSIs, but we'll also do executables or any type of installer executable. So,
yeah, when it comes to MSIs, there are a few limitations. You cannot install files that are larger than 2 gigabytes. So again, you would need to find some way how to go around it. So PSAppDeployToolkit is a great example there. There are no strict standards, although the MSI tables are designed to be to make everything standardized. You can go off the rails pretty easily with custom actions and doing something interesting. And only one MSI at a time can be run there. And again, there is no real bundling experience. So when you need to bundle something, PSAppDeployToolkit. Sorry?
Merge modules.
Yeah, no, that's not. Yeah, I want to mention this, that with both of these technologies, you can actually do it all. So for MSI, for example, you can go with the custom actions and create that end-user experience with your custom DLLs. We know how to do it, and that's a lot of work that no one should go through it and try it. But
and PSADT is the same thing. You can actually go and build an entire MSI-based installer, or sorry, an MSI-style installer, just purely out of script. You can, copy all your files, copy registry keys, register DLLs, do pretty much anything you want. But would you? You probably wouldn't. You'll rely on MSI. So.
Okay, and so I like this story a lot. So survivorship bias. In World War II, there were these aircrafts coming in where analysts look on the bullet holes in the aircraft itself and thought that, hey, let's reinforce these areas where the bullets are to make it stronger. However, the flaw here is that these actually survived the mission. They came back. Where the real issue was in the aircraft that didn't come back, and probably they were hit in the place where you cannot see the bullet holes. So something similar I see in the IT. As I mentioned with my experience when we're suddenly not working anymore. I didn't report it. So if anyone else, for example, get the package installed on the machine, they lose their work, their machine suddenly reboots. Maybe they will create a ticket. I doubt after restart everything is working, after the application crashed, new version is there, so they will be just angry. Or they will create a ticket where you will not find really any real evidence what will happen if you are not really troubleshooting so hard. So these are the things that we usually miss, and we try to show you with the user experience and other examples here that you can actually tackle these invisible things. So the conclusion is here that we we see that when you know what tool to use, what kind of standards, what kind of guidelines to follow, we see companies actually striving. There's less tickets created. Teams are efficient when you have solutions that you can share across the team. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, if you have an automated mechanism, or if you have a standardized process for packaging applications, then essentially you're going to be reducing the amount of time spent on packaging. You're going to be reducing the number of tickets that you actually get generated.
So which one won? Oh.
I don't think there's any clear winner. I think actually it just proves that both actually work better together.
Yeah, and first comes to understanding actually the technology, like why the MSI is there in first place, as we explained, like why is the PowerShell Deploy Toolkit actually created. And as packagers ourselves, we actually, packaging for other companies, we actually, when we had even one MSI or MSI with MST, we always wrap it in PowerShell Deploy Toolkit when that became available to us. So because we knew that MSI cannot fix all the issues, so we use PowerShell Deploy Toolkit to basically overcome the MSI issues and improve the user experience. And we see so many organizations using it and loving it. And yeah, I don't see any other so great alternative right now. So our call to action to anyone here would be, if you're like a gentleman, I talk from Australia, that is core MSI fan, knows inside out of MSI, but maybe is a bit tired to learn new technology like PowerShell Deploy Toolkit. Yeah, try it, see it. It really can help improve your organization and your packages. Or if you are PowerShell and PSADT fan, don't be scared of the MSI. It's not so scary. Just open it, play around, change some values, see how it goes. It's really getting easier, especially with the tools around us, AI, and yeah, and we have a community in.
There's a Discord. So the WinAdmins Discord community has sections for app packaging as well as for PSADT. So if you're stuck and you need help with anything, then just jump onto the Discord forums, and there'll be people there to help you out. There'll be myself, Dan G, as well as the Master Packager guys.
Yeah, so thank you.
Thanks.